Hello and welcome to Fishing Towel Films and another episode where I'm going to be talking about tackle. This is Tackle Talk 2. Now I've selected 6 more tackle items to chat about. Some of them I've been using now for about 3 or 4 years, so I feel that because I've sort of been field testing them a bit for my own benefit. I'm not sponsored and I don't aim to be sponsored. It's just my unbiased view on some of the tackle items that I use when I go fishing, and hopefully you will glean some information that you might find useful. This is what this tackle talk is all about. And also, you may have noticed on the title of this video and also the thumbnail, I'm going to be talking a bit later, I'll leave it right to the end, a life-saving tip. Well, it could be a life-saving tip, and I know a couple of my friends didn't know anything about this, but they do now and they use it, so we'll talk about that a bit later. Some of the items that I'm going to be talking about that I use for my fishing, you can also use them if you like to go camping and stuff like that, or even things in the house as well. Now I'm sure I've got you intrigued, so I'll crack on with the first item. A little bit expensive, the first item, and it's a solar panel. Now I think these are great, not just for fishing but also for if you go camping at all. And I've had this for about getting on for 4 years now. This is by Ridge Monkey. And as you can see, it's a compact sort of three bar, if you like, solar panel, and that's the battery that it all charges up into. In here you've got a lead, and you can see it's got 3 different fittings there, because you may want to use this to charge up your mobile phone or any other devices, maybe a drone or even your GoPros as well. And if the sun is shining, then you may as well make use of the 3 free rays of sunshine that's going to boost some energy. So I use this to charge up even my power packs as well. It may take a little bit longer than if you was just plugging it into electricity, but as long as that sun is shining, then and we've had plenty of that this year, it's very, very handy. And also, if you're out and about camping or you're trekking and your battery gets low, then you, with these little hook-up points there, you can either hook it up on, say, your rucksack, that then pushes into the USB bit, pushes into a little slot there. There's actually you could get another one of these and you could charge up two at once there. That goes into there, fits into there, then depending on what fitting your electrical device needs charging up on, you've got 3-way adjuster there, you can use that. It's brilliant, it really is. And I've charged up my bivvy lights on this, bivvy lamps as well during the day. If they're running a bit low and I see the sun's out, I just hook this up on the outside of my bivvy, and then I charge various items up, and come the evening when I need the lights, they're already fully charged up. So like I say, it's dear, this item. It's probably, I think it's probably round about, I don't know, 80 to 100 pounds, something like that. I'm not sure, I've not looked lately, but it's a real nice piece of very handy tackle to have, and it's so compact that will slip into a side bag or the front bag of one of my bivvy bags, or even my ruck bag as well. So there you go. They do an even bigger one, which is absolutely ginormous, but I like to be compact, and this does me, it really does. So that's the Ridge Monkey solar panel pack, and it really does come in handy, it really does. especially if, like I say, your devices are getting low. Okay, on to item number 2. Going to be staying with Ridge Monkey again for this, and this is actually another quite expensive item, but this always travels. This travels around with me wherever I go. I always put it in the side of my Korum ruck bag, and I'd be lost without this, because this helps me charge up my GoPros when I'm out filming. And you've got like 2-way USB ports there. You've got if you want to charge this up, so maybe that solar panel I showed you earlier on, or if I'm at home, I just plug it into the mains. You get like all the leads and a 13 amp plug. Charge it in there. You can see there it's got a full charge on there at the moment. Always make sure it's fully charged up before I go off, and I can get probably about 20 GoPro charges on this as well. It does vary winter time. I find these are actually better in the winter, where the GoPros drain away quickly in the winter. This power pack drains away a bit more when it's warm. I suppose it's something to do with the lithium battery and that's inside of it. In there is a round plug, so if you got like you do get extra fittings with this if you want to charge up, say like a little fridge or something. And then on the top there, if you want to, you could just lay it on the top and it will charge up your phone. So this one, which they call it the Ridge Monkey Volt Wireless, is 45 watts PD. So the Volt C Smart Wireless, so that's 26,950 megahertz, I think that is, with power delivery technology. And in there, like I say, you get your plug, you get your 3-way fittings again, USB plug that goes into that, or it can go into obviously your solar panel if you're going to charge it up through there. And then in there there's some more fittings as well. There's a 2-pin 3-way plug in there and stuff like that. So if you're abroad across Europe and you need to charge it up, then they use like 2-pin in it abroad, and then you can use that so you can still charge it up if they've got electric points out there as well. But if you've got your solar panel, then you don't need to rely on finding electricity supply. You get a nice little pouch to keep it clean. You can get one in camouflage, which is a bit dearer. I think the last time I looked at these, they were about £110, so they're not cheap, but it's already paid for itself by the amount of charges I've had when I've been out fishing with the GoPros. I've even had two of my GoPros charging up at the same time as well, so it's invaluable to me for me filming. So I thought I'd show you that. It tucks in nicely to like a little neoprene, bit tight fitting, but it does get there in the end. And like I say, I normally charge that up and I'll just take that in the side pocket of my ruck bag. It's a little bit weighty, but when it's on your back you don't really notice. So that's item number 2. So the first 2 items are kicked off with Ridge Monkey. Well, the third tackle item is fairly new. I've probably had it about 4 to 6 months now, but I've used it a few times. And it's the Abu Garcia closed face reel, which you've probably seen me use on my Tales from the Riverbank series of videos so far. And I've got to give it a whirl. I'm not new to closed face reels, because obviously I've got the very old ones from the 60s and the 70s, but I thought I'd invest in. This is the 506 Mark II version, and I must admit I'm quite impressed with it. You know, it sort of does what it says on the tin, really. You know, it does exactly what it does, what's it's supposed to do, releases the line. It's nice and smooth action. I know after a while, because you get like remember the old pipe cleaners that you used to have? Well, on the skirting of the back of the spool, you get a little bit of that, and sometimes that can wear, but they did give me some extra ones. I forget the name they call them there, but I call them just pipe cleaners. And so you can then, if I'll show you on the back of this spool there, let's put that there, they go in the inside. So basically to try and make sure no dirt gets in on the back of the spool. What I like about this, you get a nice little reel case that's got a padded hard top, so a bit of extra protection there. It zips all the way round. Got the nice big compartment for where the reel sits, and then you've got 3 spare spools, so you get 4 spools in total. It's about 60 odd pound I think I paid for that. And you see there, because I tend to use float fish, the Drennan float fish lines on that, which is ideal really for the closed face reels. I get a little pen, a white pen, and I mark on there what pound line I've got on there. On the other one I've got 2.6 on that one. The most you can go up to, and I wouldn't go over, is £6. And so I don't think you can get away carp fishing with it, sticking £10-12 on it, because it's not geared up for that. And all you'll do if you start hooking fish like that and you're trying to bully them or reel them in, you'll just strip the mechanics out and the reel will be absolutely no good to you. You've got a nice drag system on there as well, which I find is very good. And if fish is taking line and you want to stop it, there is like a little clutch switch on the side there. You press that in and it locks the clutch inside, so the fish can't take any line. You just release it as well. So I find that very good. Very impressed with it, I must admit. I'm a big fan of the Abu Garcia close phase reel, so if you're thinking of getting one, even though the old ones are just as good, it's just that this has got a little bit more features on it. Anti-reverse as well, you can lock it, reverse wind on it if you want to as well, so where on the other ones, the originals, you didn't have that option. So I can't fault it, to be honest. You know, people have asked me how you're getting on with the reel, and that's my reply. I can't fault it. So far so good, but that could change maybe in another 5 or 6 times when I start using it. But at the moment I've had no problems with the 506 Mark II Abu Garcia version of the close face reel. So all good on that front. So on the last tackle talk video I did, I said I was going to do a tackle rod review, but I'll probably need to do that outside. And we had a few the only opportunity I had to do that in the week, it was drizzling a rain outside, so I abandoned that, and I've done another reeling back the years episode that I posted up to the video 2 or 3 days ago. But this rod, the reason why I didn't want to do it in here was because in case I damaged the rod and broke the tip off on the roof, so don't want to do that. But with this rod, it's so tiny I could probably get away with it. I bought this for fishing the very narrow rivers, as you can probably see by a lot of my videos. My local rivers are very, very narrow, lots of snags in them, and so I wanted to buy something that would give me control over the float, because I can float fish with this as well. And this is the Advanta River Ambush 7 foot. It's a 1.75 pound test curve, and the code is AD1215, and it's only £28, and there was a special deal going on at the time when I bought it, and I actually picked this rod up, believe it or not, for £21, so not breaking the bank at all. It's just a 2-piece rod, there's no spare tips or nothing, not that you need it, and it's got like an Avon with the old white tip style on it, so I can ledger with it or I can float fish with it as well. And it's a lovely little rod, I must admit. Nice blank, it's very light, very strong. I used it down the river when the river was very, very low, and I just gave it a little spin out. I used it for about an hour or so when I decided to end the session, because the river was too low really to have a a proper day's fishing on it. So I thought I'd just sort of give it a little run out, and I thought when the levels of the rivers improve, I'll go back to, because there's a couple of swims that are absolutely perfect for something like that, and I'll give them another run, give this rod another run out. But it really is, what can I say, it's cheap, strong, absolutely ideal, and it's that small you can just chuck it in the back of your rod bag, your car boot, and use it as a little travel rod as well, a holiday rod. So perfect, well pleased with that. You get a nice little case rod bag with it as well, and it's got a lot of strength in it. The eyes are good quality, there's nothing to dislike about it really. All I need to do there is hook into a few fish and see what feel it gives me. I'm pretty sure it'll be good, but ideal for trotting a nice big heavy float, maybe free lining a knobworm in the current, that will be good, or a piece of bread, something like that, and also just a straight lead as well. But ideal for those really tight swims, narrow swims, deep or shallow, and 21 quid well spent, I think. Back in its little rod bag there. Nice little rod. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of fun with that, I really do. I think it's going to be absolutely perfect. You can even, talking about it, you can even actually do a little bit of margin carp fishing with it as well, down your local ponds and your lakes, sort of right tight into the margins at 1.75 test curve, breaking, test curve. Then you can probably get away. It's rated up to about £12 mainline, so that's perfect for that. That'll handle that, no problems at all. Now I've got 2 more items to show you, but stay tuned, because I've got that possible life-saving tip to pass on, which I think is important, and it's not just for anglers as well. So the next item I want to show you is something you've probably seen me using on many of my videos, and it's just simple. It's by Korum, and it's the angle tilt front rod rest. Now, no matter what, as you can see there, whatever angle I push my bank stick into the bank, because sometimes it's a bit awkward to get the bank sticks in there, because it's weighted, obviously gravity takes over, it will always be straight. So if you like the V-rest design, got a little slot there for your line to go in, and also if you happen to turn your head to, I don't know, maybe pick up your flask or something like that, and you get a vicious take from the angle, so you could be like, because I actually quiver tip with it as well, ledger with it, especially down on the rivers. You've got a bit of protection on the rod, it won't pull it straight, it won't pull it in. And so yeah, I use these for me perch fishing, for me river fishing, and it's just, these are one of the Korum bank sticks. You get them all different sizes as well. You can use whatever bank stick you want, but they're just a great design and simple design. I'm sure many of you watching this use them yourself as well, but there's probably some of you thinking, oh, I've never seen them before. They're only about £5 or £6 as well, so they're not going to break the bank, and they're very handy. So if you've got uneven ground and you need to stake the bank stick in at an angle, and then you can always know that that is always going to be level. There's nothing worse than using a fixed. Remember the old days when I used to struggle fishing, you used to just get a fixed sort of rod top and you had to try and manipulate, or sometimes you'd bend it until you broke it, you know, to try and get some sort of an angle on it. With these little Korum tilt front rod rests, V-rest, they do the job for you. So very simple but very effective, and it certainly improves my fishing, that's for sure. Now the final item I'm going to show you before I give that possible life-saving tip to you is something a little bit different, and I'm sure there's some other anglers out there that use something like this. I've got these off of Amazon, and it's basically I think it's pronounced as eufy. So it's a eufy sensor light, and if I'm sort of night fishing, I'll have one of these set up on my bivvy table, obviously inside the bivvy, and I'll have it angled so that if anything walks past, or an animal or anyone, it will trigger off, it will light up. It won't go right, it doesn't beam right the way across, it just basically lights up, say a 6, 7, 8 foot area in front of you. But also, if you're asleep and you get a bite, as soon as you move, it'll pick up movement and it will come on, a little light there, it'll come on, and then if you're just got to slip your Crocs on or your boots on, you can see them rather than trip over them in the darkness. And when I actually bought these, so I've had these probably 3 years now, I've been using these for about 3 years. They were about $19.99 off of Amazon. For, you get a pack of 3, you get 3 in there, 3 compartments, nicely wrapped up, and they are, well, I just checked before I'd done this video, they're on a limited offer at the moment for $14.99, normally $17.99, so it's cheaper now than when I bought them 3 years ago. So, but also I have these around the house. I've got one in the bathroom, so rather than you know, if you need to use the bathroom during the night, rather than turn the light on and wake everyone up, or you hear that click as you walk in, the sensor will pick it up and it'll stop you walking into the wall and that. So and they last a long while. They take 3 AAA batteries, that's the small ones, 3 in there, and they do last a very long while. And when I say about in the bathroom, also got one in the kitchen. These are like stickers, and you can see there that by what I'm going to show you now, that is stuck on the tile in the bathroom there. And we've got one in the shed as well, so you ain't fumbling around in the dark, messing around, you know, putting the light on and that, if you just want to nip in there quickly. So the sensor lights, and I think they're invaluable. They've really improved my fishing, and also they're handy to have in the house as well. And at $14.99, the batteries seem to last forever. Like, you get about a year and a half at least out of them, you know, because they're not on, they only come on if you trigger them off. So they're great to have, especially in the bivvy. If you're moving around, it'll light up, you can see where your Crocs are or your boots are, if you want to slip your boots on quickly because you might have a bite or you want to go out and recast. and there's the sensor bit there that lights up, and they're fantastic. So definitely recommend them, especially at the limited deal price that they are at the moment, $14.99. Right, the life-saving tip. Well, first of all, if you've enjoyed this video and you've found the tips useful, please give it a like, because it's so important for those likes, because it tells YouTube that people are enjoying the video, they like what they're seeing, and they'll like sort of recommend it to other anglers, and it helps the channel to grow in the hope of trying to attract more subscribers. So if you could give it a like, give this video a like, be much appreciated. Now, the life-saving tip, many of you would have heard of it, but there's also many that don't. And if you've heard of, well, imagine this scenario, and you could probably picture yourself, and you may have known what I'm going to tell you, but you don't use it. And you're out fishing by the river, you've had a 1.5 mile walk, something that I've done many a time and will continue to do, and some anglers like to fish a couple of hours into the dark. So that means you're fumbling around and anything can happen. In an instant you could trip over, twist your ankle, God forbid break your leg, or land on your hip and do your hip in. It's pitch black, you're on your own, there's no one else around you, you can't move, the car's still about another 1.5 miles away, and you're basically stranded. Okay, you can ring home and tell them, but unless they know exactly where you exactly fish, you're going to be hard to find, especially if you've got to walk over four fences, and you think to yourself, well, wow, I'm in trouble here. It could be peeing down a rain, or it could be a cold winter and the temperature's dropping and you're laying on the ground, you can't move. Well, there's an app, and I'm sure some of you have heard of it. It's called What 3 Words, W3W. It's an app. I've recommended this to my mates who have never heard of it. A couple of have heard of it, but I've not used it. But when I've explained it to them, they've gone, "What a fantastic idea!" And it's free. It's a free app as well. You ain't got to pay for it. And so, but how it actually works, if you're not familiar with What 3 Words, is that it knows exactly your location. So if you have a tumble, or maybe or you break down in your car or something like that, and you want to then obviously call, say, the AA or the RAC, and you can give them your exact position with What 3 Words. Now you might think, well, what are you talking about? Well, what it is, if you go on the app and fire up the app, just sort of tap on your mobile, tap on the icon, it displays exactly where you are, because it's obviously connected up to a satellite, and it can pinpoint your position within a square metre. And then imagine that is your mobile phone. I should have brought my mobile phone in. It will give you 3 words. So it could be Xander.Russ.Perch as an example. And so you remember that, you make a phone call, whether it's to the ambulance services or at home, so that they can then call, and you can say, what 3 words is telling me I'm at this pinpoint, Xander, Russ, Perch. And they know exactly where you are. So they, rather than fumbling around in the dark, they'll just, because it will track, when they're coming to your rescue, they'll track where you are and you're found. So that's What 3 Words, W3W. Free. It's a free app, and I recommend every angler, anyone that goes camping, hiking, or anyone really, and I know some of you that are probably watching say I already use it, but I bet there's a few that don't use it. I would definitely use it, especially if you go wandering off fishing out the middle of nowhere on your own and you fish into the dark, or because sometimes you're walking back, you think you know the route, but there could be like a little divot. Happened to me not so long ago. I went down a little divot. Luckily nothing happened, but I looked at that and I thought, well, that could have been an accident waiting to happen. So that's my life-saving tip, because it could literally save your life. Imagine like just falling over and you had no way of letting someone know exactly where you are, but what 3 words you can do that and potentially save your life. Or you could be with your mate, he's fallen over, you're a mile and a half away from your car, you don't really want to leave him because he's in so much pain. You may need to try and make sure that he stays awake. If he's hit his head or anything, you can make the phone call, you can give the three words, and you can be with him until he comes and rescued. So there you go. Hopefully you'll give that a thumbs up. You'll download that app and potentially save not only your life but maybe someone else's life with a free app like that. Thanks for watching. Next time you see me, I'm going to be out on the riverbanks. I'm going fishing tomorrow. See you soon, and thanks for watching.